Well, winter's coming. Hey, Angel. Winter's coming, so time to get all my tents out, get them all arranged, make sure no mold got set in. Okay, Angel. She's such a needy dog. Anyway, yeah, I'm on my front lawn, just to the right of my septic. So I gotta watch where I'm pegging. So yeah, I'm gonna put all the tents up I have, and I got way too many tents. But that's a good thing. My neighbors wonder what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm gonna show you a whole bunch of tents I have. A little bit of a problem, I have way too many tents, but I'm gonna show you pyramid style and A-frame. So the first one, right behind me is an Esker. I'm just putting it up right now, so ignore the tent leaning. Okay, so the pyramid style tent, goods and bads about it. Goods is lightweight. This is the Esker Fox 10x10 and lightweight cotton canvas that breeze, and this whole thing weighs 13 pounds, so it's pretty lightweight, and there's only one pole, a center pole, which is a huge advantage for being lightweight, right? You can even cut a pole in the bush instead of bringing the aluminum one I have that extends and goes high, goes low. Which it needs to go high right now. I have to push this up a bit. But yeah, so really compatible or compactable. And the other advantages of it is that it really is good in high winds. A lot of polar expeditionists would use this to set out in the middle of nowhere with high winds. So it's really good for that. Really simplistic, to be quite honest, to set up. And how you set it up, you really have to peg it out first, then put the pole in and push the pole up. So maybe one, I would say, disadvantage of that is if you don't peg it well, it's not gonna go up well, okay? So think about it, if it's winter and you got a lot of snow and you don't know how to peg a tent into the snow, that could be a disadvantage, okay? So I'll get to the A-frame in a minute, but the A-frame has more of an advantage over it than this. So the other is that once you peg it, I'll take you a walk through here. Once you peg it, I'll take one of the pegs out. Get really good pegs. I mean, yeah, that's really hefty, but I wouldn't go in the bush, especially this time of year when there's not much snow, without a really good solid peg, okay? Don't do this sort of thing with a pyramid style. I picked these up, really lightweight aluminum pegs, at Army Surplus store for 99 cents each. They're fantastic, but again, I do that, okay? So you gotta peg it. Once you peg it, you get the center pole up, and I'll show you the center pole of the tent here. So we've got the center pole here. That's upside down, by the way, because it's supposed to go, the divots, whatever, is supposed to go into the snow, but there's no snow, so I just put it upside down, so just ignore that. But yeah, so you got the center pole here. How you making out?
Well, it's in.
And then, the next thing you have to do, once you peg the sides, put the pole up, then you actually have to peg these out, okay? So that will give it more stability, get more volume inside the tent. So yeah, that's really simplistic. Another disadvantage is if you got ropes coming out all over the place like a spider web, walking around the tent can be a bit of a What the?
I was trying to be a gentleman, you know?
Okay, but really solid tent because of that. And you can actually put a stake out here, and peg it, or I could pull this out to a tree and do a trucker's hitch on that to hold it out, but you do have to pull the sides out, okay?
All right, so we're finding these little grommets here all over the tent. Okay, just taking these guy lines. We're in a nice little patch of trees here, so it's pretty easy to find a tree to tie off to. Otherwise, like Kevin was saying, we'd have to, you know, create some type of stake to get this system to work a little bit better. But I think we're going to be all right, other than maybe just one or two spots where we might have to get a longer rope to find a tree to tie off to. So far, it's pretty easy to set up, eh? It's not too bad, other than a lot of rope work.
It's easy for me. I'm just filming it. Really roomy. If you look at this, also this is what I really love about the tent. Okay, have a look at this. So this is where the pipe comes out, and when I go and put my Snowtrekkers up, you'll notice that I have ones for big stoves and one for small stoves. Well, the way they've done this is you can put both. You just make the hole bigger, and that's fantastic. I think that's whoever made that up is a genius. Okay, one really important thing to talk about is price. They're a lot cheaper than A-frame tents. They range from $800 to $1,200 depending on size. And you get an A-frame like a Snowtrekker, well, I'm in Canada, so for me to get that shipped to me, I mean, it's going to start at $1,200 and $1,500, and then for me to get it shipped, it's going to cost a lot of money. So yeah, a lot cheaper. So if you don't have that much money and you really want a hot tent this winter, that's the way to go about it. If you can't get an Esker, Autuck makes a similar design. They're made in Quebec, so they're Canadian made as well. And yeah, so did I cover everything? The pyramid tent, single pole, lightweight, compactability, deals with heavy winds. Oh, the pipe, yeah. So you can get these with the stove that goes in the middle, and the pipe goes right up. I actually don't like that, to be quite honest, even though the idea behind it, it's safe. I mean, the sparks will not go under the tent. If they do, they'll just smolder a bit, then we'll burn your tent down. Or you can put a spark arrestor, but I do not like spark arrestors. I don't think they work at all. I stay away from them. But that's a debate you guys can have. Me personally, I just don't use them. But yeah, the good thing about having the stove in the middle is you all sit around it and converse through the night, and you sleep around it. So that it makes sense. Also, the pipe goes right up, and so therefore there's no way the wind is going to go down through the pipe and smoke you out. So that's a good advantage. I just rather have the stove to the side of the tent with the stove pipe going out on an angle like that. Just when you put it up, make sure you don't point the stove hole or the pipe hole towards the prevailing winds. So it gets windy at night, you're not going to smoke yourself out. So yeah. Or what else I could do is you get an elbow of a small stove, of the big stove, and then you put it at the tip of the pipe. And so therefore there's no way wind is going to go right down to it. So yeah, there's ways around about it. So why did I get the Esker? It's Canadian made, and also because it's lightweight and pretty simplistic. That's why. Yeah. And I'm addicted to tents. So I'm gonna put up another one to show you. A-frame. This is the Snowtrekker Basecamp. Okay, so yeah, here's the Basecamp. It's Snowtrekker's regular model, I think. Actually, I think it's one of their big sellers. I got this tent a few years back. I use it in the fall, sometimes in this early spring. I've got a mosquito netting for the front of it too that can zip on to it. So, but yeah, generally in the fall. And the Basecamp, it's got a lot of height to it. It's actually 6 inches higher than what's called a Shortwall, so it gives you more headroom, which is important. It gives you more side room. The height to the side here, I'll show you. If you're a person that uses a cot, this is probably a really good tent for you, because the cot goes right on the side there. I'd call this a 2-person. You can fit 3 easily, but it's a 2-person. And one really important thing to note, this right here, small pipe size, small stove, okay? Watch it, there's a stove here.
Oh look, who's this? Who's this guy
Very
here?
hot pipe going out the front door.
It's an old timer. What are you doing there, old fella?
This is all wrong.
The problem being is new tent, old stove. Small tent, big stove.
I got a stove for it, but the stove didn't arrive in time, so I just brought my old stove. No problem, right? So we're actually bringing it to the camp. The stove hole is too small.
Where's the stove supposed to go?
It's supposed to go up the side.
Well, the deal is, big pipe. Hang on. Small hole. Pipe don't fit through hole.
which is why I use it in the fall. I would not use a small stove in a hot tent after -20, even -12 Celsius. They just don't give enough heat for that size of tent. So yeah, so I have my big stove for my Shortwall, which I'll show you next. But a couple of features on this one. Again, it's A-frame. You put it up through pole sections. This actually holds it out. These things help that. There's a peg on the back as well, similar to this. So it gives you more room inside there. And yeah, really cozy, warm tent. And I think I'm easier putting an A-frame up, not because it's easier than the pyramid style. The pyramid style is probably a lot easier. It's just I've done this a lot more. I had a Snowtrekker, my first tent, second and third, whatever. Yeah, so I've only used the Esker maybe for 2 years. So I can put an A-frame up like blindfolded. So, but if it's really, really windy, trying to put an A-frame up is pretty comical. Okay. I don't know. I'd say the only disadvantage for me would be just for price. Yeah, it takes a long time to save up enough money to get a tent like this, but really worth doing any type of hot tent in the wintertime. Got a great heat source. So, really roomy inside. Double zipper. Really, really roomy inside. Well, Andy survived the night, and because he had a nice little hoodie on. I'm alive! Looks like you're one of Robin Hood's men.
For Knights of the Round Table. Oh.
Now, this is not set up proper because I wish I had snow. It's a lot easier to put a hot tent up in snow because these sides in front here are put on the ground, and then you put snow down and compact the snow and harden the snow to hold the tent down. So you're using the snow to your advantage when you're hot tenting, not your disadvantage. And none of these hot tents, by the way, have a floor. You can use boughs. If you're in a provincial park where you can't do that, or you don't want to do that, I'll show you what I use. It's actually that same material they put over trucks when they're hauling equipment. It's a tarp, but it's a non-slippy tarp. So I use that. Yeah. All right, Snowtrekker A-frame, 2-person base camp. Taller than all the others, 6 inches taller than the Shortwall. Sides are higher. So yeah, again, if you want a nice cozy cot up against the side. The pipe goes out the side, not up the top. I don't own a tent that actually the pipe goes straight up. I know friends do, but I don't. I'm just glad I'm putting all these tents up, and it was snowed here this morning, now it's all melted. But I haven't stepped in dog poo yet. That's a good thing. Snowtrekker A-frame, 2-person base camp. Now, time for another one. Just a note, before I forget, the attachments, here we go, for the pole. The old Snowtrekker, they probably still sell this. It was this piece of leather that fed through the pole, like so. Okay, works great. -20, hands numb. I hated this thing. All right, so now they've got this clip-on. Absolute genius. So make sure you get these instead of these. I mean, I still have this for my older tents, whatever, but yeah, godsend. Amazing. Another thing as well, I want to touch base on is 2 types of joiners for the A-frame. So this one's hollow, so the tube goes inside. This one's solid. So, wait a minute. Yeah, the tube goes inside and this goes in the tube. So, these things work great as long as you don't have a tube that isn't hollow. Yeah, so I used to like these. They're a little heavier. This is lighter. So now I'm liking these a lot better because they fit any of my tents. So if I lose one of these, I can take it out from one of my other tents. And when you set up a tent in the wintertime, put a tarp down, put everything on top of the tarp, like your poles and these things. Because if you lose this, you can't put that tent up. So that's another advantage of the Esker pyramid shape, is that, you know, this sort of thing is not going to happen to you. I once lost this during a TV show. I had to get one of those metal detectors to find it in the snow. Just saying. Okay, another A-frame. This is another Snowtrekker. This is their Shortwall, and this has more volume than the Basecamp. So it's not as tall, but it's got more volume inside. Let's have a look inside. Nice roomy tent. Couple points though. Large diameter pipe for a big stove, not a small stove, okay? Which is fine by me, because I use the big stove more than the small stove. Hey, Angel. And if you look at the sides, okay, Angel, usually wonder why we're still outside. Okay, all right. Oh, Kevin, are we done yet? How many tents do you have? Angel and I are getting the fire going while Christine is setting the beds up. I think we got the easiest of the jobs. Okay, so I like this setup too on the side. It's a lot simpler than the larger pole. Works really easy. Okay, and same thing in the back as well. Here are the vents. I also generally open the zipper up on the front a little bit at night to create ventilation as well. Get another vent here. Angel, get off the neighbor's lawn. Come on. Yeah, so this is a Shortwall. It 2 to 3 person, easily three people can fit in there. And side stove, side angled pipe on it as well. I'll do a thing on stoves on another video. This is the tent I generally use. Basically because it fits the big stove, and I like the big stove. And I don't know, I like it. I think it's a lot good volume size tent. Oh, emergency helicopter coming across the lake. Someone got injured. Uh-oh. Anyway, so yeah, Snowtrekker A-frame. He's really low. Wow. Snowtrekker Shortwall A-frame. And I think this weighs 32 pounds with the poles. So not as light as the Esker, but not heavy at all. I mean, especially when you're hauling on a freight toboggan. I would never backpack any of these tents. I pulled it on a toboggan in the wintertime. Let the snow be your advantage. Oh, okay, I gotta go. Helicopter's coming. Here we go. I got one more tent to show you. Okay, last tent, another Snowtrekker A-frame, and this is my solo tent. This is what I use when I go on my own. It is called their Minimalist tent. And I actually didn't see it on their website this year, so I'm not sure if they're making it anymore. I'm pretty sure you can get a solo tent off them though. You can put 2 people in here, have a look. Easily, actually. Just make sure they're a good friend of yours. But yeah, it's got the small hole for the small stove. So there, yeah, small stove hole, so small pipe, small diameter pipe for a small stove. And yeah, you would need just a small stove for this. It's a really small tent. I don't take this in extreme cold weather though. I like the big stove. So I also don't go solo a lot. I love going solo tripping. Don't get me wrong. I do a lot of solo tripping, but solo winter camping is a lot of work. Put the tent up, put the stove up, get wood to burn all night, get water. Oh man, it gets dark quick. So I do go solo sometimes, but maybe once a year I'll go solo. Actually, I should go next week before the snow really comes and go on another canoe trip with this guy. It'd be fantastic. And for me and the dog, this is perfect. Okay, so a little bit different setup here. So we've got those leather straps, but it's no big deal because these are really small. poles, so it fits in really quite nicely. And my new 99-cent tent pegs seem to be doing the job. So I did own 2 other tents. My very first hot tent, oh Angel, was the 12 by 12 Basecamp. And I used that for years, but my buddy Andy kept borrowing it, so I just gave it to him. He gave me a snowblower, so it was a good trade. And I also had the ASIM. It's an asymmetrical tent. Really cool idea Snowtrekker had. They actually made the front where the stove is and where you sit high, but the back low. So where you go to bed, it's a smaller surface area to keep warmer. They don't make them anymore. I think probably it was too expensive to make them. There's a lot of stitching involved than all the other tents. I don't know why, but they don't make them anymore. So yeah, I had too many people asking questions about it when I was using it. So I just said, you know, I kept on saying, well, they don't make it, don't make it, they don't make it. So I sold it to a buddy for a good price. Yeah, those are the tents. Hot tenting, it's awesome. So there you go, hot tenting. Pyramid style, A-frame, bunch of different designs, shapes, sizes, whatever. Just get yourself a hot tent. Winter camping is amazing with a hot tent. It's like a sauna in there once that stove goes, and you can keep dry, you can go for long distances, long periods of time. I just love it, okay? If you're looking for more information on it, I got this book, Complete Guide to Winter Camping. Got a hot tent on the front. And it just got revised, 2nd edition. So it did really well, so I'm quite proud of myself, and so is my mother. Quite proud of me. She sent me a note last night. And yeah, 2nd edition, so it's got 30 extra pages, a bunch of other different things in there, ice fishing. It's got a whole bunch of recipes, traditional recipes, even my mom's fruit cake recipe, stuff like that. So I'll do a separate video on this whole book here, but it's just thought I'd show you, if you're looking for information on winter camping or hot tenting, here you go. And there's a whole bunch of other books too, I'll mention down below. All right. I'm glad I got all my tents up. It's gonna snow again. You don't want these things getting wet when you have a small place like mine. I have no place to dry them. But what's really good is I'm really glad I actually checked them all. No mold, which is fantastic, because you don't want them getting moldy. And I found this solo tent had a cracked pole. I don't know what happened during storage or something like that, but I'm glad I didn't take this thing out next week, finding out that it had a cracked pole. I'd rather find it out now on my front lawn, right by my septic. All right, well, thanks for coming out, and have a good winter.